Oh, come on. I got a ticket. I was only there for a minute.
I'm sorry, sir. The sign clearly says no parking, and we get a lot of complaints about people parking there.
Look, I'm in a hurry. Can I resolve it here?
I'm sorry, you cannot. Your best option would be to take a hearing in front of the judge. Believe it or not, most situations can be resolved later. By not getting upset and trying to resolve the issue on the spot, you could take a hearing in front of the judge, and sometimes things could work themselves out.
That sounds good to me. Not guilty.
Sorry for my attitude. Thank you, Sergeant. Be safe.
It's best if you don't get mad and try and fix things in a moment. That could sometimes make things worse. And that's your tip of the day to get you on your way.
Subscribe now.
Over and out.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, thank you guys for tuning in. It's Coach Cleek coming at you. It's your motivational speaker, your empowerment coach, your author, and your favorite baker's favorite baker coming at you. Most of you already know we transitioned from the lab to black and blue. We've been going strong for almost a year now, where we interview police officers and law enforcement officers that are rookie, seasoned, or retired and their experiences throughout this profession. And we give a positive impact on what the things have to offer. We answer questions. It's a tremendous experience. Some of you, it may be your first time on this platform. Others of you, it is not. So remember, if you want that shout out that you're looking for, put your name and where you're from in the comment section. That's the only way I can see you, if you put it in the comment section, because we are streaming on 5 different platforms. 2 platforms on Facebook, 2 platforms on YouTube, and 1 platform on LinkedIn. And if not, make sure you just like it, tag, like, share, subscribe, tell your friends about it. If you're looking to be on the show, workwithclee.com. We'll get into that. Workwithclee.com is how you can apply to be on the show as well, and we can talk about your experiences as well. Got to give a shout out that you see it in the comment section. Don't look at it right now. Make sure you check it out after this live. mg4tech.com. Merrick is great when it comes to online anything. If you have your own website, if you have your own podcast, you got your own channel, and you need anything done as far as electronically, digitally for your website, he's the guy to go to. He offers different services. Check him out. He's hooked me up many times. He's a good friend of mine. Also, One Way Publishing, workwithclee.com is on the web. It's in the comment section too. You guys feel me? It's in the comment section. Workwithclee.com for One Way Publishing. One Way Publishing is a sponsor of the lab, along with Sergeant Be Safe. Workwithclee.com, One Way Publishing. Their motto is they can take a mere thought and turn it into a book that's bought. These books back here, self-published through One Way Publishing. There's other clients that have gone through the service and has had a tremendous and positive outcome. But don't take it from me. Take it from Sergeant Be Safe.
Hey, Sergeant Be Safe. Have you gotten your copy of The Lab Part 2?
Hello! No, I have not.
Well, I understand. It did just come out, but make sure you go and grab your copy as soon as possible. The Lab Part 2 contains so many amazing people and their stories. Let's give Coach Clee a round of applause for completing another book. It was great seeing you again, Sergeant Be Safe. Make sure you let me know what you think of the book. By the way, did you see who made the cover?
I finally got my copy. Make sure you guys go get yours. This book was published by One Way Publishing. Workwithclee.com is the website. Make sure you order yours while supplies last.
Subscribe now.
And like I said, One Way Publishing helped my dreams come true. They turned a mere thought into a book that's bought. The latest book, The Lab 2, just came out this year. It is a compilation of former guests on the show. They talked about business, their businesses, their positive messages, or their products. Entrepreneurs, self-proclaimed chefs, teachers, so much more. Chefs, cooks, designers, other authors. So many people have been on the show. I'd be doing a disservice if I tried to go down in your list, because I know I'm going to leave someone out. But they're highlighted in that book as well, and that book is available at the website, so make sure you guys check that out. But without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, what you guys are here for, I got Charles Prescott behind the scenes, behind the stage right now. He's the chief of police of Morehouse College. He's also the associate vice president. He's there for campus security and campus safety. He's going to talk about leadership. He's going to talk about community service. He's going to talk about so many different things. Get your questions ready, and we're getting ready to have a good time right now. Charles, are you there? Let me bring him to the stage. There we go. Charles, are you there?
I'm here. Hey, man, good evening.
Good evening. Good evening to you. Thank you for coming through. I appreciate you donating your time here on Black and Blue. We're going to have a good time. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
All right, Clee. So basically, my name is Charles Prescott. As you gave me the shout out, I am the chief of police here at Morehouse, associate vice president of campus safety. Been working on month number 7, right? So it's still in the honeymoon phase of what they tell me, but Morehouse is good to me because I'm an alumni, and so I feel like we're always going to be in love with each other. So I'm enjoying the ride so far.
Good. And we're happy to have you here. Sergeant Be Safe wants to welcome you as well.
This is Sergeant Be Safe. And I want to welcome all you viewers and our very special guests to Black and Blue. So get your questions ready and enjoy the show.
Film Pack. Subscribe now.
All right, and there we go from Sergeant Be Safe, welcoming you to the show again. So you've been the chief of police, like you said, for 7 months. How'd that ride come to fruition?
Well, man, I wish I could give you this long rundown story, but it was nobody but God, man, how it all worked out.
Okay.
I was the chief investigator in Cobb County at the time, and a lot of people don't understand what a chief investigator does for a district attorney's office. Essentially, I was the chief of police, but I was Monday through Friday, with weekends off and holidays off.
That's not a bad schedule.
Hey, that was one of the best chief jobs anybody can have. Let me tell you, that's something they didn't tell me about when I came out the academy. But after some time there, because in Cobb County, we're in the state of Georgia. For those that's watching, this time last year, we were in a trial with the Ahmaud Arbery murder trial, and the case got sent over to Cobb County, and I ended up taking over that case as one of the lead investigators. I ended up doing the security for the case and the trial.
Oh wow, okay.
Kind of towards the end of that, man, I was kind of tired, like anybody. And the Morehouse job came open. I had other stuff on the table that I was looking at, but man, it's something about being home. It's something about just coming home, and it excited me, and that's where I'm at, brother.
Okay.
The stars aligned, and here we are.
And there you go. You caught lightning in a bottle, and we sit here right now.
Yes, sir.
Let's take a couple steps back. How did you, or why did you originally want to become a police officer?
Man, at first, I didn't want to be a police officer. I couldn't stand the police. I didn't want to deal with the police. Like most people of our pigmentation grow up feeling like this is not what you want to do for a living. For me, I was at Morehouse and ended up having my child, had my son here. He's 17 now, he's a senior.
Okay.
Make you realize how fast time has flew for me.
Flies, yes. And
it was me and him. He was running through Morehouse campus, man. Even back then, his first time eating solid food was in the cab next door. So when it was all said and done, football was over. I was here as a football player on full scholarship.
Okay.
I knew I needed something to do, and I had my kid. And I don't know if you remember the movie Ricochet. Well, you might remember Ricochet, Clee. The Denzel movie, man. He was a cop first, ended up being a district attorney. So I said, I'm gonna be like Denzel. I'm gonna go be a cop, then I'm gonna go to law school.
Okay.
Because I need to be a cop because the benefits were great. I'm like, well, as long as you don't die, it's a pretty good gig.
Yeah.
So I ended up, my last semester, I ended up working at the YDC college, and I realized real fast that ain't for me. And I ended up moving back home to Burke County, Georgia. And the sheriff gave me a job. Then it was Greg Corson. And I thought it was going to be something temporary, man, while I started grad school. But I got there quickly, and I was good at it. And just being good at it, and then realizing, talking to the prosecutors I knew, and the lawyers, I started finding out, y'all don't make much more money than I do already.
Yeah.
And you look more stressed out than I do. And I just rolled with it, man. I just rolled with it. And it went from something that I was just trying to do to get by to being something I love to do to now at this point I realize it's something I'm called to do.
Wow.
And that's that sweet transition anybody wants to hit in their career, right? When you know what you're called to do and you're doing what you've been called to do. Then, like I tell my son, I was called to go places people wouldn't go and do things people wouldn't do if I do a rundown of my career. But now at this stage in the game, it's all about, I'm in more leadership position. I find myself leading more and more. So now it's kind of that transition, so that sweet spot. So here I am, man. I couldn't picture myself doing anything else outside of law enforcement for the last 16 years.
Gotcha. It's interesting. Like you said, when something that you thought was going to be temporary and you were just doing to get by and getting because of the benefits and because you were good at it, turned out to be your calling. And once you find out what your calling is, it gives you purpose, and that purpose is what drives you forward and keeps you moving. And it's easy to be to get up and go to work. It's easy to be a leader in something that you believe in and feel like you have a passion and purpose for it.
Yeah, because it's still a noble profession. Granted, in the South, we know what the profession, where it came from, police and the slaves, and the plantation to make sure we're bringing slaves back. But we have a chance now, being in this particular position I'm in, that we're in, of bringing this noble profession back to what it should be, what it should have always been.
Right.
And it's an honor to do it. And it's a lot of responsibility. And I think, like any cop who starts out, very few of us come into the profession saying, I'm going to change the world. That's cliche. That's the police academy stuff. Very few black men walk into law enforcement saying, this is what I want to do for a living.
Right.
It's usually something or life circumstances that make us fall into it. And we fall out of it too. But when we stay in it and we find that sweet spot, man, it's a special place to be. Absolutely.
And so you discussed that you're currently the chief of police and you've been there for 7 months. What's your current position, title, and responsibilities?
Currently, I am like the chief of police, and I'm also the associate VP of campus safety. So it's, in my mind, how I divide things, right? Being that tactical operator all these years, I section stuff off. So if I have to describe it, chief of police on this side, campus safety on this side. So making sure that the locking mechanism working, making sure the lights are working, make sure the camera's up and going, making sure we're putting stuff in place to keep the community safe. And on that police side is make sure we're doing the public safety stuff we need to do.
Okay. And in this position of 7 months, like you said, I know we talk behind the scenes. How has it been treating you?
Man, it's Morehouse. So it's been good because I'm an alumni, man. And I tell you, coming back home to a place such as Morehouse, you know what the world says about black men, what the news says, and what the stigma is about black men out. But it's something I've been in Morehouse. I don't see what they say we are. I see a bunch of smart young brothers that's trying to change the world. I think about my circle of friends that we all attend here together. We're a bunch of smart brothers trying to change the world. So being here and being back around all the love and the excitement, man, because, you know, being in law enforcement so long, you can get empty. It lasts, keep getting empty, and nothing pouring back into you. I mean, because you'll deal with the worst of the worst. You're dealing with court. You're dealing with the news. You're dealing with media. You're dealing with these terrible cases, and you're not getting anything poured back into you.
Right.
So being in a place as special as Morehouse, and knowing what it produces and it has produced, and what it's done for me, and coming back here and trying to give that same energy off, man, I'm in love. I told my boss the other day I come to work in the meeting, and I just feel like I'm hanging out every day.
That's a good feeling.
Because the police work, we know how to do the job. 16 years in, I've been in leadership over, at this point, almost 10 years. I know what I'm doing on the police side. That's not hard at all. The miraculous thing for me and the easy thing is, like, I'm just here hanging out.
So you mentioned leadership and being in leadership for over 10 years. What does that mean to you? How do you be a good leader to someone who's just now coming on the job, showing them an example of what a leader should be, and molding them and mentoring them to be to grow up in this profession, to be the officer they can be?
Luckily for me, man, I can testify I had some great mentors in the game. Sheriff Alfonso Williams, he's down in Burke County.
Okay.
Chief Joseph Nelson, he's in South Carolina now. He's the chief of police over South Carolina mental health.
Okay.
Major Jerry Blash now down in Liberty County. I had some great mentors, man, that I understand how blessed I am to have them, that sat me down, took their time, and they groomed me. Right?
Okay. Mm-hmm.
There was no such thing as you can't go to this training or you can't get that certification. But I tell you what Sheriff Williams did for me, and he pushed me. So I ended up working for him, his first chief job.
Mm-hmm.
His first chief job, right? He's a young black man, youngest man to have the spot, first black man to have the spot. He calls me and he puts me over his brand new narcotics division.
Mm-hmm.
I went from serving warrants, never wanted to be a detective. Now I'm working narcotics.
Uh-huh.
That's some trust, man. I didn't know what I was doing. I tell everybody, we were buying dope, putting it back in the file cabinet. I didn't know I was supposed to send that stuff to the crime lab. I mean, the first 6 months were rough, man. But he gave me the leeway to do my job. And he said, Prescott, no one is untouchable.
Mm-hmm.
As long as you're doing the right thing, I got you.
Got it.
And sit down in the counseling with me and to make sure I got what I needed. Man, it was amazing. And I remember one day it changed for me. I won't talk too much about it. If he's watching, he's gonna start laughing. I made a case. I made one of those crazy cases we known to make when we're young.
Oh, yeah. One of those ones that those policy building cases.
It wasn't a policy building case, but it was somebody in the community, family member. One of those cases, right?
Okay, I got you.
Which, officer discretion. We didn't have to make the case, but I made it anyway. And he brought me in not to fuss at me, but just to talk to me about it. And I got frustrated, like, you told me nobody was untouchable. All I did was my job. You in here got me locked up fussing at me. He was like, look, man, it's not that serious, Charles, but I want you to see what you did wrong. And I told him, well, I'm not the chief. And he told me that day, you're not, but you need to think like the chief. I need you to think like me, move like me, because you're out here and I'm not. I trust you to do that. So knowing that responsibility, man, I took it with me and put it in my pocket. And I remember everything he told me, man, because he took a risk on me. He brought a brand new young kid. I might have been 26, 27. Shouldn't have been supervising anybody. And I'm running a narcotics. I was the lead investigator for the narcotics unit. Then I ended up doing all the tactical stuff for the office.
That's a lot of
he
trust.
sent me to instructor training school at a young age. I was the youngest one in my instructor class. So having those mentors, and Chief Nelson, at the time, he was my commander for CID, my investigative commander. He got a job at Payne College. They wanted to create a police department from scratch. This man brought me over at 29 years old and made me his assistant chief of police. At 29, now I'm writing policy, I'm supervising people, and I'm running a department, and I helped get a police department from ground up. So when I tell you I had great mentors that poured into me, I mean, it's an understatement. So, the biggest thing we have to do in our career, or our demographic, they say we don't give back. They say we don't reach back. They say we don't help. Well, nobody was selfish to me in my career. I worked hard. I know I did.
Right.
My catalog and my body of work speaks for itself. I worked very hard for it. But the fact of the matter is, a lot of people have worked hard, but nobody opened the door for them.
Right.
A lot of us just need a door open. So if we're in a position to open the door, let's open the door. And any resource I have should be your resource also. And that's how we're going to get what we need to be.
Gotcha.
So when you start thinking about leadership, whatever access point I have to you being better in your career, that's what I'm here for. I told my staff in Cobb, I tell them here at Morehouse, guys, if you don't get what you need to get while I'm the chief, that's your fault. Because I'm not going to put any limits on you. I'm not going to say you can't get this training. I don't care if you're fresh out the police academy and you want to get supervision training. Now, you might not be my supervisor no time soon, right? But but when the time arises, you already got the training.
Right.
So I felt put you in a position to be better. So by the time you leave me, is my hope, is my goal. By the time people leave me, if they interview for a job of executive level, it wasn't because they weren't qualified enough. It was just because they didn't like you. So I'm gonna pour that much into people, everybody. And I think if you give your all to folks and they see you give it, they'll give it back in return.
Absolutely. The give and change, Yep, absolutely. We got a comment on the floor right here from our former guest on the show, Barbara Thomas. Thank you for tuning in. Her comment is, I would think that transitioning to policing in an educational environment would be very different, be a very different experience.
It was, I did it so early in my career because when I told you when I left Waynesboro, I went from narcotics, homicide. I went from kicking indoors one week to writing policy the next week, and I was at 29.
Right.
I only did it for a little while before transitioning, coming back to Atlanta and taking over the gang unit at Fulton County DA's office and working. But in DA world, I dealt with everything. So coming here now at this point, it's not a hard shift. Once you know the law, it's not a hard shift at all.
Got you. The key hand is on. Thank you for tuning in. I appreciate you. Tag, like, and share. So I know you discussed mentors and influencers that were on the job and helped pave the way and open the doors for you. Are there any mentors or anyone who would influence you that's not on the job that had a direct impact on your life, maybe early on or your formative years in your late teens, early 20s?
Man, my oldest sister is 10 years older than me.
Okay.
My brother's 8 years older than me. We grew up like anybody else. I think that typical, the typical story of us growing up poor, growing up struggling, finding really no way out of your situation. My sister was the first one to go to college.
Okay.
She played basketball. She majored in biology. She went to college when I was in third grade. So naturally, the time gap, she treated me like I was her kid, right? And I treated her like she was my mama. So when she went to college in third grade, man, my whole world stopped.
Yeah.
Because I was her baby, but she wrote the blueprint, and she finished college and she came back. She became a teacher. My brother is 8 years older than me. He played tennis and got a tennis scholarship to Morris Brown. My sister graduated from Savannah State. And those were the impressions I knew. So to me, you can't say you can be a victim of your environment because I've seen these two climb out of it.
Right.
So no matter what was going on around me, I knew two things for sure. If I was good at a sport, I can go to college. If I finished college, I can have a good career. Now my sister's an assistant superintendent. My brother's a principal. Here I am a chief of police. And we started from literally nothing. But having each other and watching her grind and watching my brother grind, they're my heroes. I don't tell them that enough. Because, we grew up not with a lot of soft talk. We didn't say I love you and all that. We ain't had time for that. Like, we still don't hug at Christmas time. It feels kind of funny. We get together and try to hug. But,
like,
we know the love is there. We just don't say it. Like, yeah, I love you too. Watching them grow and watching them with their families, they set the tone, man, for what I need to be and what I need to do. And my sister, I've been married now 4 years. I wasn't always married. So when I was out making those big cases and doing that stuff, I was coming home alone. Yeah. Right. I was for the streets, Clea. I was for the streets.
That's a whole nother conversation in itself.
That's another podcast, right? But I was for the streets. But I was out making cases, man. And I had nobody to come home or call, so I would call my sister. Or if I would go out doing big busts, like, hey, I'm leaving, I'm doing about XYZ. I know she had to be like, I wish he just find him some. but man, it was them checking in on me and keeping me motivated, and they kept pushing me. They kept pushing me. And watching them graduate from HBCUs is what prompted me to go to HBCU.
Okay.
Now, let me tell it, I went to the better one. She went to Savannah State. My brother went to Morris Brown. In case he's watching, I won't pick on Morris Brown too much. I know a few Morris Brown graduates. So we have our little lighthearted jokes, man. But seeing them really excel and do it, they're my heroes. Those are my heroes.
Cool. That's nice to know. Way to give a reflection back to the family.
Yes, sir.
So let me ask you this, and goals that you may have set. I know that you set goals for yourself already, and you may have you've achieved a lot of them. You attained a high position at a university, at a college, and doing great things. Where do you see yourself professionally and personally in about 3 to 5 years? What kind of goals do you set for that, for the 3 to 5 year parameter?
You know, I'm on this thing right now, right? I tell people, God moved me so fast. I know at some point that I'll be out of law enforcement soon, because I'm still young. I'm only 39.
Mm-hmm.
But when I look back over my career and the stuff I've done more in the last going on 16 years than most people have done 30-year career.
Right.
In positions and held titles. So I know God has more for me. What does that look like? I don't know yet, right? But for the next 3 or 4 years, what I do know is I'm going to be right here at Morehouse building this college up and putting back into it and giving back to it. You know, my son, he plans to 10 here. One of my prayers was, he plays football, right? So one of my prayers was, as he's growing up, God, I just want to be somewhere when he goes to college, I can just watch him play on the weekend. I don't care where he goes.
That's a blessing in itself.
I remember, right, when I played at Morehouse, my dad was traveling with work. So he missed games, right? Coming from that little small town, we playing in California in front of all these people. I'm the captain, and my family's not there because they had to work. You know, they can't afford to come. So my thing was, I don't want to be in that situation when he makes it to college.
Right.
Then he wanted to come to Morehouse above all things. So I'm like, awesome. So, man, my son's here. I'm at home. I'm getting some peace. So I'm going to be here, still fighting the same battles, right? Same battles for equality. Still fighting, trying to fix pay disparities among women and men, among being black or white. Still tooting the same horn of fighting the mental health. Still trying to bring us back to the profession, but I can do it from a place where Dr. King was, a place where Big Mays was, a place where, I mean, so many leaders were produced to make change happen. So I don't stop being the change agent I am because where I'm at. If anything, I'm more powerful now, and my word is, I can push my word even further.
Right.
Because now I'm at Morehouse. So now we can bring public safety aspect on a bigger scope. We can change what campus, more specifically what HBCU campus police looks like. Of changing the tide. If a PWI school is the landmark, here is Georgia Tech and the UGA, right? That's where we need to be. Why would I not try to match their energy and try to excel past that? So that's where I am, building up this department the way it needs to be, producing more leaders, opening up more doors, the same doors that are open for me. Because at some point, we all gonna lay it down, all right? So we got to make sure we do the right thing. So I'm going to be here doing the same thing I've been doing, at least the next 5 years, right? I don't, until God tells me something different.
Good answer.
Until God tells me different. Now, as far as the department goes, yeah, I got so many plans for where we're going to go and what we're going to do. And I say going to because I firmly believe God won't let me fail at anything. So the vision I have, He gave it to me plain and clear. We're going to be trendsetters. This department is going to be, when you look at campus police departments, Morehouse is going to stand out as some point the benchmark of where you want to be. I'm not caught up in being the best black college police department. I'm not worried about being the best campus police department, but we're going to be one of the best departments in the country.
Right.
We're talking about community policing, community engagement, de-escalation, with training, all that stuff for us is going to be the best that it can be. The same level you have a Morehouse, when you think of Morehouse, how we're here, when you think about Morehouse Police Department, we're going to be on the same place. Same thing. If you do the study and you look at law enforcement compared to, I hate law enforcement. So if you look at public safety compared to institution or the community, right? If the community outpaces the public safety department, what do we have?
Yeah, chaos.
Chaos, bad pay, terrible officers, so many complaints, because now the community or the institutions outpace the department. But if you look at the study, you look at communities are eye to eye with public safety and with the department, everybody wins.
Right.
So right now we're getting outpaced, but now we're going to be right here. And if we're all on the same page, man, we can't do anything but excel and succeed. So that's where I'm at with it, and that's the energy I'm on right now at Morehouse.
I like that. I know on this platform we talk a lot about 21st century modern policing, and with here in Black and Blue we talked about how policing and law enforcement is very cyclic, and most of the times we're right here in the middle where we're moderate, where everyone, they're okay with us. They don't, unless they need us, they really don't. We're not much. There's a lot of times that we're on top. There's been a few years when we were the heroes and that, hey, thank you for your service. I love what you do. You guys be safe. And lately, from the beer virus on that, we've hit rock bottom where we're extremely not liked. We get the worst of the worst, and we keep going through that rotational cycle. And it seems like we're coming up from the worst part and coming right back to the middle and eventually growing back to being on top again. And like I said, I know that's cyclic. But how do you feel that as the community is outpacing public safety, how important is community service or community policing to kind of bridge that gap?
Well, to be in leadership in public safety and not be prone to those pillars of President Obama's 21st century policing aspect and those pillars, right? You got to be transparent. People have to train. You have your policy, your oversight, technology, and social media. All that stuff matters when you start building back with the community. Too many times, a lot of complaints are what people don't know.
True.
What they can't see. If you stand flat-footed and you know you're right, and you sit there and you tell them you're right, and you're able to explain and articulate why you're right and why the agency is right, the trust won't go anywhere. I promise you that. Because just as many people are mad about the police, there's so many people that's happy that we still here.
Oh, there's a silent
people really not that we out here on these streets. Trust me. And we're always gonna be the scapegoat. Stuff roll downhill, and that's the nature of the business. That's what we signed up for. Well, what I've come to find out, whether you're talking to at a PTA meeting, whether you're talking to a stone cold gangbanger who just killed somebody, whether you're talking to some teachers, whether you're talking to a group of kids, whoever you're talking to, as long as you're giving them respect and they know where you're coming from, you can gain. The problem we run into, we turn it into us against them.
Yeah. That was going to be one of my questions. Absolutely.
We don't have the luxury in law enforcement to say it's us against them because it's all them. We are servants.
Right.
And we get this from Sheriff Williams, and I love it. His favorite scripture is the Son of Man came to serve and not be served.
Right.
So if Jesus Christ, in all his glory and splendor, can come down and wash people's feet, get beat, die for us, and serve us, who am I to say I can't serve people?
Right.
So we have to get back to the service aspect. And once we start serving, your service is going to outdo and outwork any negative energy that's around. Because people see you working. They see you serving. And when they see you serving, they know you care. Even the most, you can have so much hatred in your heart towards something. But if they see it working, and they see you being humble, they see you being natural about it, and they see your compassion, and they know you care, regardless how many times you cuss me out, I'm going to keep saying I love you. Regardless of you might set my car on fire, but if something happened, I'm still going to be there to pull you out that domestic. I'm still going to be there if you're in the middle of an armed robbery. I'm still going to be there to solve these cases for you. You have to keep pushing through that. And the people, the agencies that survive that, they do just that. They keep marching and they keep working. And they're being transparent. So you got to have that community aspect. I told you I hate law enforcement because my philosophy on it, and I get hit on it a lot. If you say law enforcement, I can say anything in the law book. If you commit a crime, I can take you to jail, right? That's law enforcement. The state of Georgia, if you get caught shoplifting 3 times, after the 3rd time, it's a felony.
Right. Same in Pennsylvania.
Right. So, but what if you were shoplifting? The first time you stole a loaf of bread, 2nd time some milk, 3rd time you stole a Lunchable. Public safety says, what did I do wrong? How can I make you better? And what can I do to make you a productive member of society? And it's all about caring, right? I just told you, if you see this in front of you, what conclusion can you draw as a prudent and reasonable police officer? Or just a good person? They're hungry.
Yeah. Somebody's not eating.
Hungry. Let me feed them. Everybody ain't got to go to jail. Like, we put away the monsters and we help everybody else. When we do that, that builds that trust. I'm telling you, I've seen it happen. That will build a trust. And everybody's on the same page now. But we have to be in a mindset where we're taking care of each other and serving each other. And then public safety becomes all of us. Not just the department.
Working hand in hand.
The shifts, but it's the community.
Right.
And making yourself accessible to the community.
Good. I like that explanation. Good. I like how you're saying the community and public safety working hand in hand, and that it really is the community in itself while working together. Because I mean, you're serving, helping the public, helping the community. The community's trusting you, letting you know what the problems are, and expecting you to fix them. And that's how you build the foundation to build the community, so the community can move forward as a whole.
Because think about it, a time is gonna come. Well, you got to do the part of your job nobody likes you to do. Right. The time's going to come where you got to put your hands on somebody. The time's going to come where you're going to have to clear that lever. The time's going to come. I mean, it's inevitable. But the relationships you build and the trust you gained already, when the time comes for you to do your job, they'll understand why you did your job. You won't get the blowback. Yeah, some people are going to be mad, but people are going to stand up for you because they know you did it because you had to do your job. We get so afraid to do our job because we don't do what we should do in the back end. I couldn't ask my wife to marry me if I didn't do the coating right. I'm country, so it's coating for me. If I didn't do the coating on the back end, I had no leg to stand on when I asked her to marry me, right? If we don't do the work in the back end, when we do make these cases and things do happen, Are we able to walk out in the middle of a protest and just talk to them and calm the protest? Are we able to call up a rival gang member and say, man, stop that? Are we able to do that? You can do it if you put the work in.
Yeah.
But if you ain't put the work in,
it's not going to be effective. Absolutely.
You got some trouble on your hand. That means you can't sit in that car and just ride around. You can't not go to stuff. You can't just go in the restaurant and not talk to anybody. If you're working on Sunday, you can't not go to anybody's church. It's a community. When the people of the community know that you're invested in the community and you're protecting the community, oh, man, they love you. But you got to work the love.
Yep, absolutely. Right now, we're going to take a pause for the cause. Sergeant Be Safe has something to say, and we're going to come right back. You guys stay tuned. Pay attention.
As we all enter this holiday season, be mindful and vigilant that this is when scammers and thieves like to take full advantage of us. It's more than just ghosts and goblins out there. There's real life monsters like Rob You Blind and Chance Wilder, ready to hurt and take advantage of kids and adults alike. Kids and parents, be mindful while out trick-or-treating, and don't accept candy from strangers. There's a lot of things out there that may look like good candy that's actually very poisonous for you. So let's be safe and only go to places that you know, and be accompanied by an adult that you trust. And that's your Halloween tip of the day to get you on your way. Ooh.
Subscribe now.
And we are back, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Coach Clee coming at you. And most of you have already been here for the interview with Charles Prescott, the Chief of Police of Morehouse College, and he is still backstage. I'm going to bring him forward right now. Charles, you there?
I'm here.
Perfect. We have having a great conversation. I want to ask you a question about a new trend that's going on, a new situation that's going on nationwide. It seems like it's been very difficult that's been going on for a lot of departments as far as finding applicants or qualified applicants. What those applicants are asking, what skills that they should possess while applying for the job. And also the second part of that question is retention. A lot of seasoned officers, a lot of officers that are on their way out the door, the beer virus and everything that was going on from 2020 and beyond has kind of left a bad taste in a lot of people, a lot of officers' mouths, and they're ready to go. And some of them are really good officers and really could actually stay on and finish their career if they really wanted to. But this is just not the environment for them. What kind of advice do you offer both ends of the spectrum for those challenges?
Well, I'll come from the leadership point first.
Okay.
Everyone is having trouble recruiting. I told you earlier backstage, I was at a conference this year earlier, and I asked, and it was close to 400 law enforcement leaders, and I was teaching, and I said, raise your hand if you want your kid to be in law enforcement. Nobody raised their hand.
Exactly.
And I can tell you, for me, being in public safety in this profession, what it's done for me, how it's paid my bills, how it's put clothes on my son's back, food on his table. I don't want him to be in public safety. If he come home and tell me he going to the police academy, I don't know what I would do, right? But
you'd be a mad daddy.
A mad dad, right? But you know, that's just the state we're in. We have to get to a point where you understand that this profession is not, you're not gonna make $1 million. You can live good. You You live real good off of it. But I understand too from a leadership position, because I kind of fall in between the old school and new school, right? I'm kind of in that middle spot.
Mm-hmm.
So I saw pensions.
Right.
And I know pensions don't exist anymore.
Mm-hmm.
So I know there's 401k. So when you start talking about this new generation, and I am a millennial, considered a millennial.
Right.
I know for me, I'm not going to sit on your job 30 years anymore while you talking to me crazy, while I'm miserable, and I don't want to be here.
Mm-hmm.
Especially when I don't have a pension plan to look forward to. I'm going to take this 401k you gave me.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to roll it over to the next job that's going to pay me more money.
Mm-hmm.
So now everybody is competing.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody's loyal anymore, not to the department, not to the city, not to the agency.
Right.
That's out the window. So now recruiting is the tough part. And now a lot of agencies, the small agencies where we suffer, we don't believe in continuous recruiting. Like, I'm in Georgia, so Atlanta, the sheriff's office, they always done continuous recruiting because they knew a department that's big, they're gonna have turnover. So they were ahead of the spectrum on continuous recruiting.
Mm-hmm.
Smaller agencies are trying to catch up now because when they fill a spot, they fill a spot. They don't think about it anymore.
Yeah.
When I came to Morehouse, the authorized strength numbers were, when I was here actually attending school here, they were around 50 employees. Well, I won't tell you what it was when I came back as the chief, because the authorized strength number slipped because somewhere along the line there was no continuous recruiting.
Okay.
So how do you recruit people? You have to go out and tell your story to people.
Mm-hmm.
You have to go out and tell people, hey, look, you can get what you need to get. You can live the life you want to live.
Mm-hmm.
You can do everything you in life you want to do and live a good life doing this job. Yeah, you can die today, but you can also die, getting in your car, driving to your other job.
Right.
And finding the good things and the sweet things about the profession.
Mm-hmm.
For me, now in recruiting and retention and keeping people, for any leaders that are watching, what are you offering people to make them stay?
Mm-hmm.
Are you pointing to them? Are you giving them the best you got? Are you letting them get the training? Are you letting them get the certifications?
Mm-hmm.
I tell everybody under me, if I can't afford to lose you for 2 weeks to go make yourself a better officer for some training, I don't deserve to be a chief. And understand the fact that once I pour into you, people gonna steal you. They're gonna take you.
Mm-hmm.
Because they know what I put into you, and they know what you as the chief have put into them and the stuff they have. They're gonna steal them. They're gonna steal your people.
Mm-hmm.
But that's good for you, because the more people they take from you and elevate to higher positions, the people watching saying, I need to go work for him.
Mm-hmm.
If I go work for him, I can look like him. If I go work for her, my career can do that.
Right.
And now you built your network up. You built your worth as a leader. I have put I produced close to 4 chiefs, 2 deputy chiefs at this point in my career.
Mm-hmm.
So I know, so when people see me, they say, well, you know what? If I go with him, he's got a blueprint.
Right.
He's 16 years in, he's 39. He has a blueprint. Now, his blueprint might not be the one I need, but he has a blueprint. And my resources are your resources. That's the same thing my mentors tell me. My resources are your resources.
Mm-hmm.
So we get that open networking, right? So now, once you're in a position of leadership, and I have somebody else coming through that I train up, now that person can bounce over to you, and we can keep building network. I gotta look at it from that standpoint. As an officer in the game that's been through the mud like anybody else, I've had the PTSD. I've had the burnout. Well, I mean, I have the PTSD. Let me put that, because you don't get rid of it, right? I've had the burnout. I've dealt with the burnout. I've dealt with the feeling like there's got to be something else you got to do. But man, the thing about this career is everybody can't do it. Everybody can't go to places we go. Everybody can't do stuff we do.
Right.
It takes a special person to find a child in the middle of the road in a car wreck and carry that child off while their mama's dying in the car behind them. It takes a special person, man, to hold somebody's hand while they take their last breath. It takes a special person to go out and chase some of the worst people in the world.
It does.
Or to sit across the table from some of the worst people in the world. Everybody can't do it. But if you're called to do it, and it's what you've been called to do, you know that God's going to take care of everyone. You're not going to lack anything. And somebody's got to do it.
So, yeah, absolutely.
And we all feel burnt out. We all, I'm sure, we've all felt it. But you got to make sure, you got to find out what's your why. And your why changes, right? I told you my why was I needed the insurance and the benefits. And I found I was good at it. And then my why kept changing, right? So now my why is I'm called to be here. This is where I'm supposed to be. Once we understand this is where you're supposed to be at, everything's gonna work out fine. You just gotta cut the noise out. Yeah, it's frustrating. Yes, it's tough, it's hard. It's a hard career, man. It's taxing. You look at our rate of death. I think at one point we were stroking out of here like 55, close to 60 at one point.
Yeah.
I refuse to be one of those people.
I agree with you. I'm not gonna get to the age of retirement and be done. I plan on having a full life afterward.
But you know, one thing we don't get right here, I don't know how you guys do where you're at, but one thing we don't get right here where I'm at is you'll be 30, 40 years in still wearing a gun belt. You'll be 62 years old and you'll still be a sergeant, a night shift sergeant. We don't do good at transitioning officers out of the game here in Georgia. We don't have a 20 and out. We don't have, some counties have a rule of 80. All right, so a rule of 80. So I mean, I don't work 50. I don't work 30 years and I'm 50. That's still too much. We don't have a good transition out,
right?
Because we don't have that good transition out, and it sets us back so far. So until we come to a even plane in the state of Georgia, we have a statewide benefit package. Because in Georgia, I don't know how it is where you're at, but here, I can be the chief of police here at Morehouse College. Morehouse can tell me, Prescott, you're being well, but we don't need you no more. I leave and go to another department. Doesn't matter if I was the chief over here, I'm a day one rookie over here.
Exactly.
So I went from here to here. We don't do well at the lateral change. We don't do well at the benefit package or the retirement. So generally, if you're in this thing at a certain age, either you love it or you're stuck in it. And the people that stuck in it, you don't want them in it. But at a certain time, you've reached a certain point in your life where you're too scared to steal and you're too lazy to work. So now that leaves you in law enforcement.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Got a couple comments up there. Shout out to you, Mr. Towers. That's exactly how department leaders should be recruiting, 4 to 5 years max. Expect your folks to move on. The faucet of recruiting will stay on, especially when you are pouring into their officers. Yes, the kickback will be amazing. We got Cameron W. giving you a round of applause. Yeah, Lamont D. Satchel Jr., shout out to you as well. Shout out to you, Cameron. True leadership. Charles Prescott, thank you for being a part of Morehouse community. You are truly a great chief. Thank you, Charles Prescott, for your leadership and direction at Morehouse. It is appreciated. There you go again. Shout out. Yeah. So let me ask you this: as we had a wonderful interview and we're still going on strong. I know you're there. Do you come across a lot of college applicants? And I know it's kind of dwindled now. We talked about how applicants and recruitment is down, but do you come across any college applicants that are like, what do I need to do to actually go into the police academy, or what's it like being a police officer? What skills should I possess? What college courses should I take in order to better myself? Yeah, with anyone who is interested, I know it may be a small number. What kind of conversations do you have with them?
I have those conversations more than people would think, because a lot of younger men and women still want to do the profession.
Okay.
They still want to do it. Now, granted, you can do the job with a GED.
Mm-hmm.
Now, it's up to you. I don't want to step on anybody's toes, Clee. Let me
don't get yourself in trouble.
It's up to you how long you stay on patrol.
Oh yeah.
It's up to you how long you stay in that car. It's up to you how long you spitting on your shoes and shining them, and you go on a roll call at weird times in the morning and working weekends. It's up to you, totally. I just had a mentee of mine graduate from the police academy a couple weeks ago, and he wanted law enforcement, and I let him sit with me, and I showed him exactly what I did and how I got to where I was. If you want to be in leadership, nobody wants an unqualified leader.
True.
You can be the best in the world, but you got to have some qualifications behind you. I'm also a 5th degree black belt.
Okay.
That black belt may mean a lot to some people, but if I don't have a body of work that I have in the profession of martial arts and championships and winning championships and world titles,
right,
me as a teacher really ain't got a lot of weight to it.
Right.
Because everybody got a black belt now, right? So what does your body of work look like behind you? Same thing when it comes to this profession. You got to get your education. Like I said, you can do it with a GED, but what are you going to be doing with a GED?
Right.
This is a profession where it wasn't built for people of our pigmentation. It just wasn't. So to climb the ladder and expand the way we can, it's certainly difficult if you don't have certain things behind you. My grandma said they can take a lot from you, but they can't take what you know.
Right.
So from my standpoint, I graduated Morehouse with a degree in sociology. My first master's was in emergency management with a concentration in homeland security from Walden University.
Okay.
And I have another master's in biblical counseling. And I transitioned myself in case I got to a point where I said I'm out of law enforcement. I could branch off to counseling and leadership and teaching is what I already do. I didn't put myself in a box. A lot of people say, well, I got an undergrad in criminal justice. I got a master's in criminal justice, and now I've got to get my doctorate in criminal justice. Okay. So when you figure out this ain't what you want to do for the rest of your life, what are you going to do? Are you building yourself up? So you got to go to school, but you got to make sure you're taking the right class. Now, I'm not knocking criminal justice.
Right.
It's not what it used to be back in the day, right? When my sister was in school, she said all the football players took it because it was easy major. But it's not that anymore.
Right.
But you don't need to do degrees in criminal justice, for sure. You got to learn something.
I played football, and I went to school for criminal justice.
I said I wasn't picking on you.
I know. I just had to throw that out there.
But, hey, well, she was right. She was right. But you got to build yourself up, man. So outside of, you got to have your education together. You got to get the training you need possible. And I know it's hard to get training at certain agencies, especially smaller agencies.
Right.
But I can tell you, I've taken vacation time and burnt vacation time to go to training before if I really wanted to go get it.
Right.
Oh, you said I can't go? Cool. I'm going on vacation. Matter of fact, I'm going on vacation this week, and I'm going to take Supervision 1. I'm going on vacation this week. I'm going to take hostage negotiation.
Right.
I'm gonna get all the stuff I need to get, whether you want to pour into me or not. And I'm not going to let you dictate where I'm going to be at in my career.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of people want to railroad you or make you stay there, and they won't pour into you. And that's when you got to find somebody else. Find you a mentor. Not just law enforcement, whether you're in business, whether you're in marketing, whether you're podcasting, whether you're preaching, whether you're teaching. Find you somebody who's going to pour back into you, and they have a blueprint.
Right.
And you take it and you run with it. So to excel, to get where you need to go, you got to have that stuff behind you. Because when it boils down to it, you might be one of the best candidates. But if you've been in the game 30 years, high school diploma, no college degree, you've been a sergeant, you've been a lieutenant, you've been a captain, you've been a major, back before there were standards and assessment boards, and now you're at a major position, and you're 30 years in the game, and you finally about to apply for a chief spot, but now you're competing against somebody who's 10 years in the game with a master's degree.
Right.
Depending on how the interview go, I kind of know who I'm going to hire.
Mm-hmm.
And that it is what it is. You got to position yourself to get the job you want or be what you want to be. You can't shoot where you at now. You got to shoot where you want to go.
Right. Exactly.
So if you come into the game now and you want to excel at it, you got to shoot for where you want to go and to get what you want to get. We can't sit back.
Building yourself up and constantly. We talk about this on the platform. Self-awareness is sexy, and self-improvement goes along with that. Leadership skills come from that. When you're always building yourself up, you're making yourself better. You're pouring into yourself. That way, you can be of service to someone else. As you pour into yourself, you constantly are making yourself better.
That part, constantly. You got to learn something every day. I used to hear my grandmother say it. I thought she was just talking that talk, like maybe makes you learn something every day. You hear that? But there's value in it. Learn something every day.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And Cameron W is back on here. She's saying, everyone, please add Morehouse Police Department on your Facebook and IG page. A lot of great content is coming soon. Giving that plug out there, ladies and gentlemen. Make sure you go ahead and do that. Got Jamon Nelson. He said, I played basketball and my degree is in criminal justice.
I'm just joking, man.
I know. But now we had a great interview, and I know through the course of this conversation, there may be some things that I've skipped, or there may be some things that your memory got jogged, and you may want to get out and put that information out there. Is there anything we may have skipped that you want to discuss right now? The floor is yours.
I think we covered everything, for sure. It just got to make, so if it's anything, if we're closing out, one thing I want to make sure we're all doing is just being the best you could be every day. And being an example for people, especially for our race, when we talk about making it and succeeding. We talk about, being a rapper or being a sports star. A friend of mine, Tyrone Dennis, who founded the Clippers and Cops, he said, go pro in life. Going pro in life looks different on so many levels and so many things. You can go pro in your career and live a great life and have other streams of income and still do what you need to do. You can't, but you got to open yourselves up and be mindful of the world around you and don't put yourself in the box. Especially for my black men out there, my black women, they will put you in a box. I don't care what profession you're in. I don't care. They will put you in a box. It's up to you if you're going to stay in it or not. Step outside of it. One thing that has worked for me, Clee, I tell you, I don't try to fit in anymore. I just make everybody fit in with me. Right? I make the room adjust.
The right people will stick around. Yep.
I don't come around anymore hoping that people like me. I don't come in a room hoping that, I'm still humble. I promise you, I'm a humble guy. But I'm not going to kill myself and worry about how you feel about me or how you perceive me. How you feel about me ain't my point. It ain't my problem.
Mm-hmm.
I know the mission God has me on. So when I step in the room just have to adjust to me.
Yeah.
And then when we take that mindset of making the room adjust to you, as long as you know you're doing the right thing,
mm-hmm.
you're praying your prayers the way you're supposed to pray, and you're living the best you can live, then God's going to take care of everything else. They say favor ain't fair. The favor is very fair if you work for it.
Mm-hmm.
So he's going to take care of you. He's going to make those provisions for you if you're doing what you're supposed to do.
Right.
If you're in the gym with a good person, you're out here serving, and you're working your butt off and working your tail off, then you're going to get what you need to get. If you're talking to somebody who didn't get anything, I didn't have many things given to me. I worked for everything.
Mm-hmm.
And when you work and don't worry, God will take care of the rest.
Mm-hmm.
That's my motto. You grind hard, let God deal with the rest of it. So when you work and don't worry, you don't have time to worry about, who got promoted,
mm-hmm.
who got hired. A lot of us, who they brought in to get rid of you or replace you or take your job. You ain't got time to worry about that.
Uh-huh.
You just putting the grind in and you just working.
Mm-hmm.
Now I spend my days knowing I'm doing the right thing and I'm doing right by people. So when I'm on people's radar or people don't feel a certain way, or they feel a certain way about me, I don't feel a certain type of way because I'm doing the best thing I can do and I know I'm doing. So
mm-hmm.
when we do that and we just keep putting one foot ahead of the other every day,
mm-hmm.
and we taking care of ourselves mentally, spiritually, and physically, and we're being holistic about the type of person we are and what we're putting back into the world,
mm-hmm.
we're going to be fine.
Right.
And that's really my message. That's my entire leadership style. It's making sure people are okay.
Mm-hmm.
You can't take care of nobody if you can take care of yourself.
Absolutely. And like Jamon Nelson said, great advice, good words, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, sir. Barbara Thomas said, this is awesome. Thank you for tuning in, Barbara, again. And she will be following the Morehouse PD. There we go. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, thank you guys for tuning in. We had an awesome show today. We were talking with Chief Charles Prescott with Morehouse College. You guys have any other questions, make sure you put them in the comment section. They will be addressed on the different platforms if you're watching the replay. Make sure you guys tune in to Black and Blue Weekly. We have a special guest that we go live with, police officer, law enforcement official anywhere in the nation, the United States of America, that is a rookie, seasoned, or retired officer. And we go about their experiences. We learn some things. We have a great conversation. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, please tag, like, and share. Get this word out. And if you feel so compelled, donate to the show. All proceeds do go to the show and expanding and making this platform a little better. The Cash App is $ Coach Clee if you feel so compelled. If not, that's fine. We're still going to keep moving forward with Black and Blue. But Sergeant Be Safe does have something to say before you guys totally log off. Stay tuned.
Small crimes turn into bigger crimes if not dealt with. The broken windows theory.
Hey, Rob, you blind. I saw you break that window.
Meddling busybody. That window was like that when I arrived.
I'm calling the police.
Ooh.
Don't run. Sergeant, be safe. I saw Rob, you blind, try to break into that building.
Thank you, concerned citizen, for letting me know. We will definitely investigate. Minor crimes such as vandalism, loitering, curfew violations, public drunk, jaywalking, or driving with your headlight or taillight out. Minor crimes turn into bigger crimes if not reported.
Sergeant, be safe. I would have gotten away with this if it weren't for you and these nosy citizens.
Community policing begins with you. So if you don't want to see your neighborhood go down the tubes, if you see a crime, report it. Sergeant Be Safe here. That's your tip of the day to get you on your way.
Subscribe now.
Thank you guys for tuning in. This is Coach Clee coming at you. Tune in for more shows. Check out the pages. This is Coach Clee. Like I said, we're signing off 10-4. Over and out.